This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined once again by Big John Fury. I see my request for you to wear the Santa hat didn't go down too well.
Why would I want a Santa hat when I've got the best boxing betting odds by free bets gear on that anybody could put on? I'm happy with this. Suits me. Good. And the good guys. Keep your Christmas.
Well, they'll hopefully put some money in our stocking anyway.
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
Now, John, it's been a very exciting year for you and for your two sons, especially. The rumour mill has been in overtime the last few days. Apparently, Tommy might be close to an exhibition fight with a legend in Roy Jones Jr. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely nothing, because it's not true.
Oh, that's a shame.
Load of crap.
Ah.
A load of crap. It was spoke about his representatives, his lawyer, as along with Tommy, had a quick conversation that went nowhere. So that's the end of it. Unless they've done something I don't know about, but as far as I know, it's crap.
Fair enough.
More clickbait. By the way, I must warn you boys, when you're doing interviews with me, forget the clickbaiting. Because I'm telling you, last time I did interviews, they clickbaited, and let me clarify what they clickbaited. They tried to say that I said my son Tyson was in decline. Now, that's not what I said. I said his training camp was in decline, his training was in decline, and his team was in decline. As a matter of fact, I'll stand by it today. There was non-entities. But Tyson, I never said at any one time he was in decline. You can only do with what you've got round you. And I said he needs to make a lot of adjustments for this next fight. Not he was in decline. There's two different things about a man being in decline and a man's training can be in decline. I was on about his training camp and his training. That is and was in decline. So let's keep it properly. Because the last people that said that, I don't know what they do it for, just for a clickbait, for a view. You know, but, you know, for people like me, I'm an honest man, but people who do that, I'll tell you now, will not get another video off me in 2024. Any clickbaiting, they're done with me.
Glad to hear it. You won't get any clickbait from us, John. I was reading that story, actually, before I got on the call.
Yeah, well, that's a load of crap, you know, because I never said at any one time that my son was in decline, because he's not. He's not. It's the people around him ain't up to much. He's getting the slaps on the back, the pats on the back. His training's in decline, and his camp's even in a bigger decline. Well, it's not a camp; it's a circus. It's a backslapping job, and that's what I'm saying. But Tyson is not in decline. He's got plenty of years left in him, but he's got to do what's right, make the adjustments needed for his next fight. But never ever did I say any time that he was in decline, because he's not. It's rubbish.
Well, let's talk a bit more about Tyson in a few minutes. But you said the Tommy and Roy Jones isn't happening at the moment anyway. What is the plan for Tommy going into 2024?
The plan for Tommy is whoever wants to fight Tommy, phone up, let's sit across the table and do a deal and let's get it on. That's anybody. Anybody with note who can bring the numbers, who can bring people to the screen, and they're carrying something, they're carrying weight. Let's talk to them. Let's talk to them. That's the thing for Tommy.
And you've got Jake Paul, who Tommy obviously defeated. He's fighting this weekend against another professional boxer, the second one in his career. Respect for Jake Paul in that he's still fighting, you know, actual boxers?
Absolutely. You know, of course, yeah, full credit. You know, because all boxers, they can all cause you a problem. You know, and if they're trained and put a proper camp in with proper people around them, training them, you know, they're going to do well, aren't they? You know, so yeah, big up to Jake Paul. He's fighting men he can fight. You know, let's just see what he does. And we'll look forward to meeting again somewhere in the future. That's all I can say about that at the minute. But like I say, if Jake Paul want to box Tommy next, that wouldn't be a problem. If anybody out there wanted to box Tommy, what's carrying weight, let's talk. The only man what's not welcome at the table is not a man, is him. What do you call him?
Roy Jones?
No.
No.
KSI.
Ah.
He is not welcome. Not now, not ever. He's done. We don't want to do business with a spitter.
Too much bad blood.
Too much bad blood. He's an ignorant man, and there's no more business, not for $1 trillion with him.
Well, fair enough.
Out the window. He is not a gentleman. He's a Welsher. I can't say a good thing about him because he hasn't got anything good to say. So what it is, we'll leave him where he belongs.
Fair enough.
In front of his computer, talking to some kids, trying to bamboozle children. That's what he does, isn't it? What does it do? What do they do? Disney channels and all that.
I think, doesn't he play video games? Honestly, I don't know much about that scene.
All kid stuff, innit? You know, it's all kid stuff. He's a kid himself. But you know what? He's not what he's supposed to be, is he? Because anybody, the true character come out of him, spitting at people like that. And if he'd have been close to me, I'd have been back in jail because I tore his head straight off his body. I would have done for that.
I believe you.
Just say, the man winds me up. There's nothing good about him. I just don't want to talk about him. He's done with the Fury anyway, with Tommy.
Fair enough.
But unless Tommy wants to do something with him without me, that's another ball game. But it would have to be without me. And Tommy ain't going to do that because Tommy knows I've looked after him. Tommy knows, you know, I've helped him a lot, you know, and he knows I know best. And money isn't everything. You've got to carry some amount of pride with your principle, which a lot of the young people today are lacking on. So that's where we are. But maybe when I pop my clogs.
You don't need to talk about that, John. You've got a few years left in you yet.
When I pop my clogs and some other gold diggers get hold of him, that's if he's still in the game.
Yeah.
It might be different.
Let's hope that's a long, long way in the future. But
we never know.
we were talking about Tyson earlier, and you said your concerns about the training camp. Is that something you've spoken to him directly about?
I can't talk to Tyson about much these days because he don't listen to me anymore. You know, and at the end, they only want the best for the man. He's my son. I want him to keep winning, and I only want the best for him. I don't want to be anything. I don't want to be his trainer. I don't want to be involved in his business. I don't want to be involved in anything. I just want him to give me enough respect and say, well, hang on, my dad may have a point there as a father, because I think more of him than his training camp, than his people around him. He's my son. But at the minute, all of a sudden, what I say don't matter. What I say is not what he wants to hear, you know, because they can get used to hearing bullshit, can't they? And that, what happens every time? Tears. It ends in tears, listening to bullshit. If people can't tell you direct where you're going wrong, and you won't take it on board, guess what? You're going to have a fall. And and there's nothing you can do about that. But like I say, all I say to him, I don't want to be his trainer. Never have and never will be. Because I don't want that position. All I want for him is to focus properly, put his mind on the job, and not overlook people, and give 110% in training, which he's not been doing because the people around him can't get 110% out of him. Because he's telling them what to do by the look of things. And last time, you can only say, as I say, his conditioning was appalling. Tyson's not in decline in any way, shape, or form. He's only 35 years old. George Foreman won the heavyweight title back at 46.
Yeah.
You know, and he's only had 30-odd fights. George Foreman had 80. You know, so how can he be in decline? But again, what was in decline was his training, his full camp, and the people. Because if I was a strength and conditioner and I turned my man out like that, I'd be embarrassed. If I was his trainer, turned him out like that with that game plan, but totally all wrong, I'd be embarrassed. Yeah? If I was his dietitian, I would be embarrassed. Because what went on in Saudi, well, if Tyson wasn't brilliant, he wouldn't have got past. But he can still win on half measure. That shows you how good he is. Can you imagine what 100% Tyson Fury can do?
Yeah.
Come on. Usyk could be probably one of his easiest nights. But if he stays with these people, because if they couldn't get it right then, how can he get it right now? And he needs massive adjustments. Massive.
You said at half measure was enough to get past Ngannou. Would half measure be enough to get past Usyk?
No. 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 Because at the end of the day, Usyk's a different ball. He's a different kettle of fish. 75% Tyson will get past him. 75% one. But imagine if he was 100%. The old Tyson all around that ring, all over the place, awkward. Usyk, I think he was looking in a mirror. But guess what? Tyson's twice as big. And what would happen? Tyson stop him. Because he couldn't do anything with what he's got. But at the minute, the style he's got now is easy to hit. And you've only got to go back to when Michael Spinks fought Jerry Cooney. Look what happened to Cooney. He was smashed to bits by the smaller man. He was upright. He was going forward. He was trying to work behind his jab with an up to Spinks's body. But what happened? Bang, 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 bang. 3 and 4 punch combinations every time he was gone. You know, this is what you don't want. But if you've got movement, because Jerry Cooney never had Tyson's movement, nothing, nowhere close even. But with the movement Tyson's got, you've got to use these things because they're a gift from God. He set the gift from God aside because Sugar Hill, in his own mind, has tried to call Tyson a banger like George Foreman, and he just isn't. He just isn't. He can punch, but Tyson's a boxer. He's a clever boxer with a lot of moves, and that's all you need to win these fights. Muhammad Ali wasn't a concussive puncher. He wasn't a lights-out man. He was no James Toney. Well, look what happened. Men couldn't deal with his skill. Any man 18 stone can do what they're doing. Now, for my money, Ngannou, he should have had his head boxed off and made look stupid. On his toes, flicking that jab out, coming at him from all different angles, making him look stupid. Oh, you've missed, bang. Miss and pay. You know, there's none of that. He was trying to stand in front of a man mountain and knock him over when he didn't possess that power or the conditioning. You know, the Tyson, the big, strong Tyson, the 19 stone, what had a bit of muscle on his frame and power, he probably would have done a lot better. But I was shocked at what I seen. I knew he wasn't right the minute to put my 2 eyes on him. And when I got off that plane, because I hadn't seen him, I've been in camp with Tommy, I'd never seen him. When I got off and stopped off in Saudi, I seen him in the gym. I watched him spar 3 or 4 rounds with a couple of kids. I knew then it was going to be an hard night's work. So I thought, you know what? What have you been doing? You know, and I was alarmed, and I still am, because unless you're going to get the eye of the tiger back and chuck the silk sheets and the pajamas in the cupboard and go back to the old ways and get the hunger back and know what it's like to train hard and get them slogs in and sweat, blood, shit and tears, what are you going to do? Because guess what? Usyk's doing that. Jeez. He's sweating the blood, shit and tears, and he's got disciplined, professional, great people wrapped around him. And I don't think Tyson has that. I really don't.
So you must be genuinely concerned this could be his first defeat.
Absolutely. If he doesn't make any adjustments, well, could be. Because the man that fought Francis Ngannou with that style and that conditioning, you know, and that lack of strength and power, admittedly, Usyk's a blowed up cruiserweight. He's never going to carry the firepower of a Francis Ngannou who's 19 stone 5 or solid muscle and 6'6" or 7. They're never going to, but he's bringing a different ball game to Tyson. He's going to bring like the Michael Spinks and Jerry Cooney. He's going to bring that where he's going bam, 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 bam and gone. He's going to be hard to pin down. And while you're walking him down, trying to get one on him, he's here, there and everywhere. You know, but if you trained for your awkwardness and make him think he was looking in the mirror, and I'm telling you this, and I'll say it again, if Tyson was at his best, Usyk wouldn't want to fight him. Not for no titles or no nothing. He would not get in the ring with 100% fit physically and mentally Tyson Fury. He's treading now where the grass is low because he thinks in his own mind, looking at that last performance, on his Chisora fight wasn't up to much either. He looked powerless in that as well. He didn't look to have the firepower anymore there. And, you know, that was questionable. And Dillian White, he got the job done. But I've seen better from him. And since he's been round Sugar Hill, I've never seen him take as many punches. He's never had faces and been marked up and walled up like that, ever. You know?
Will you try and reach out to him again before
I'm
the
not.
fight?
No, I'm done. I've exhausted every avenue, you know, and if they haven't got enough oil in the can or brains to say, me dad probably is right, even though I don't want to believe him, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that, because there's so many people now trying to say to Tyson, don't listen to your dad. There's a lot out there doing it, because I know what they're all about, them people. They're all about this, look. When you're expecting a fortune, you're not going to want to say something and get the sack, are you? If you knew you had a good job and you had all your life built around this job, would you want to question what your boss says?
No.
There you are. There's your answer. I will. I will. Because there's no gain. I've never took £10 off Tyson in his life. I've never took £10 off Tommy. I don't have any access to their money and don't want any access to it. I'm a nobody. I've always been a nobody. I like being a nobody. But what I do know is frigging boxing. And I know Usyk and his team cannot be underestimated. You know, they're brilliant. He's got a brilliant team. And that can make all the difference.
Well, let's hope Tyson watches this, if he won't listen to you directly, and
I'm not
takes
bothered
it on board.
Woe betide him if he doesn't. You know, listen, Ginger McCain made red rum great, because he was the trainer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Ginger McCain and red rum. You know, say it, there was need to say any more. That's what happens. But listen, I'm probably now in a position where, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just after his job. Hear this. You will never ever see me in Tyson's corner, ever. Because I wouldn't want to be. And number two, the reason why I wouldn't want to be, if they don't believe in you, why would you want to be around these people?
True.
All I can do is give advice from far off, and that's what I will do. And do you think I'm wrong? You're an experienced guy.
Yeah, I mean, from watching the performance against Ngannou, it seems like you've got a lot of valid points.
I've got a lot of valid points. But the trouble is, everybody else thinks they've got valid points except him.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
suppose he's the most
saying?
crucial
People
one.
blowing smoke up somebody's arsehole, and that's plain. There's too many people blowing smoke up arseholes. You know, you've got to work, sweat, blood, and tears. You've got to put that grind in. And without it, where you're going. And you've got to have the right people. You've got to have the right food, what works for you. You know, you've got to do stuff what builds muscle on your frame. You know, you've got to do all these and take it all into consideration. For my money, it'd take him 6 months to get a decent body. You know, and that's what people know what they're doing. You know, and all you got to do is eat plenty of good food and train your nuts off. But if you're doing everything at your own pace, if you're enjoying the gym, forget it.
Yeah.
If you go in there and you're enjoying it and you're just getting a bit of a sweat on and you're looking all shiny under the lights because you're sweating, guess what? It ain't going to cut, is it? Because there's people out there grinding. And the difference between training and grinding. You got to look at these old men. Go and look at Marvin Hagler, the way he trained. They shut themselves off. No family, no phone, isolation. All you're thinking about is Usyk and the title. If anything else is creeping into that, you're on a loss. You're on a loser. You've got to be tunnel visioned. You've got to be hungry. You've got to be like you haven't got a family. You've not got kids. You've got no relations. You've got to turn yourself into an animal, a hungry animal. You can always go back to that soft life. You can always go back to that. That soft life, well, what is it for? What are you getting out of it? Black spots on your liver and as fat as a pig and looking 20-year-old and at the end of it. That's what the good life does to you with a load of plastic friends. Well, I'm not going to tell you anything. They're living in a dream world, these young people today. I listened to my father, and every time I listened to him, I was a better person. When I stopped listening, my life fell apart. Not saying that's going to happen to him. He's that good, but he just needs to have a good look around him. You know, because I'm like this. If you can't get it right once, you can't get it right any other time. He had plenty of time to prepare for Ngannou. What went wrong? You told me. You seen his body.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the Tyson Fury we were expecting.
No, not mentally, not physically, just weren't there. Don't know why. And I knew that was the case. Nothing looked right about him. But just shows you how great he is when he can win, when really he wasn't in any condition to box anybody.
But does that frustrate you even more? The fact that he has got all that talent,
Oh, he's got plenty, got
because
loads in
you
his bag.
boxed, you were dogged and you tried your best, but you didn't have Tyson's talent or the time to train that he had.
I never had nothing. I never done anything. I never had food, trainers, nothing. I
Yeah,
turned up after a day's work. You can't compare the two things together. But the thing is with him, steel sharpens steel. And you've got to have somebody in your corner what's going to make you work your ass off. Somebody's going to say to you, listen, if you don't do this, I'm out of here. But you're not going to get that today because it's all about that look. And unless you're going to get that kick up the arse you need, every fight's going to be hard. Every one of them. But Usyk, again, going back to him, he's disciplined, he's professional, his team is, and he just thinks now that this is the time to get Tyson Fury. Because he's being misled by people around him. You know, and let me tell you, whoever thinks they're in the boxing game and don't have to train and train hard and train like a demon, guess what? You're getting beat. At some point, they're getting beat. Because you come across a man, he don't have to even be as good as you. But if he's done the work and you haven't, and he's got them gears and you haven't, what can you do? Talent will take you so far, won't it? You know, but I'm just looking at Tyson now. 100% Tyson, there's nobody about that can even touch him. He can win these fights on a jab. Like with me, for my money, every time Usyk moves, he's got to jab him. Every time he moves, he's got to hit him.
yeah,
Is he training for that?
yeah. Well, we
Like this, like he's facing Deontay Wilder. Because all of a sudden, everybody thinks people box like Deontay Wilder. Like the two-phase attack with Francis Ngannou, a man mountain. He went in 1-2, tried it again, cut for the left hook. Every time he's doing it on his corner, can't see it. I could see that punch coming before it landed. He was getting greedy, thinking the man weren't talented. Guess what? Lined him up for it. Bump. But how good is he? When he's been cracked by the hardest punching heavyweight in the world and still gets up and wins on half measure with a body like a sponge. Come on, how good is this man? I just wish, in my heart of hearts, there's somebody out there what can recognise his talent and can help him genuinely. Somebody what's not after money. But I'm sad to say, I don't know anyone. We're not in the old days anymore. All the people what could have helped him are long dead. Because the men I knew when I was training, you say to me, you know what, John? You're wasting my time and yours. Don't give up your day job. If you can't come in and train properly, guess what? Get out of the gym. There's none of that today. They're thinking, oh, Tyson Fury's a few, couldn't it for me? There's this in it, there's that in it. Am I making sense what I'm saying? If I'm not,
yeah. No, I'm just thinking about it, which old school trainers are still about. And I think you're right. It's a new generation there, isn't it? Let's try and end on a slightly more positive note. What are your Christmas plans, John?
None.
None?
None.
You must be doing something.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm getting in me hut, lighting me stove, and I'm using good food. Home cooked food outside in the cold weather. Me and me dog. And that's as good a Christmas as I can ask for. And you know what? As long as I'm here and breathing and seeing 24, that's a blessing on its own, isn't it?
2024, not age 24.
Well, you don't know. But let me just say one thing here. Christmas is not what it was. Christmas was about resting up at the end of the year for 2 weeks, having a 2-week rest, having some nice food and recharging your batteries. Now it's about receiving and taking, isn't it? Giving a present to get one back. Oh, and everybody wants all this fancy damn stuff, don't they? You know, oh, I want a Louis Vuitton bag. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. And everybody wants to be a pretend millionaire all of a sudden, don't they? You know what? Keep the money, keep the people, keep your flash job, and keep your plastic Christmases. Because you know what? I quite like Scrooge.
Brilliant.
You had the
Merry
right
Christmas
idea.
to one and all,
It's an
yeah.
excuse to get your pocket picked every 25th of December. But he went a bit too far.
I was looking forward to it, but you've taken it away now, John.
It's a load of shite, and well, you know it. Commercial rubbish.
I can see why you didn't wear the Christmas hat now.
Give you that Christmas hat there. Give it here. Christmas hat. He keeps on about the Christmas hat. Really well. This is it. People want to see John Frew look an idiot. Well, I don't mind.
It's a free bets one as well. I love it.
Great. Look at
Branded.
that there.
I expected nothing less. Well, John, however you spend your Christmas, I hope you enjoy it.
Listen, as long as I see 2024, I don't care. A new year's another day. You can only tell people, you know, but like I say, they either listen or they don't listen. But it's up to them, you know, at the end of what I'm saying and what I'm seeing is I've enjoyed everything. I've had a good life. I couldn't ask for no more in life. If I never get another thing, I've had plenty. I'm satisfied and I'm happy in my own skin where I'm at and what I'm doing. And I hope everybody can get to that same place I am at some point in their life. Work to live, not work. Will not live to work. That's that. And Happy New Year to everybody. I thank everybody who supports me and this, that, and the other. All the haters, I love yous too. You know, I hope the haters even have a very, very, very special Christmas and a prosperous and a healthy, happy New Year. That's to the haters. So what about my supporters? I love you as I've never loved before.
That's where Tyson gets the singing from.
There you go. God bless
John,
you.
really appreciate it, mate.
All the best, buddy.
Take care.